The Arkham series, Witcher Trilogy, Max Payne, Dark Souls, Mass Effect, Halo, and even the 3D GTA trilogy are some of the most notable trilogies in gaming history. Storytelling through video games is quickly becoming one of the best ways to experience any narrative. See, video games have a special circumstance that pretty much every other form of media will never have. The very point of a video game is that, put very simply, a player plays the game. They're meant to experience the game in the way that they see fit and make the decisions for themselves. Whether or not the game is meant to be played in a linear way or purely based on the decisions of the player, sort of like an RPG. Seeing as how games have such a unique method of providing a narrative, developers, storytellers, and writers all understand that the way they tell this story will always have an advantage on how effective the narrative can be on players. However, the game part of a video game trilogy is just as important as the narrative. It provides different ways to actually play a game and prevents sometimes 20 to 40 hour long narratives from growing stale. With that being said, enter the Ezio Trilogy.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The best. They never change.
And may it never change us.
Regardless of how you may feel about Ubisoft as a developer, the current state of Assassin's Creed titles and the future of where Assassin's Creed may go, it's hard to deny that these games may be past their golden age. Assassin's Creed Shadows now is their most recently announced game, and it seems to want to unite the past AC games with the newer RPG-based games through the use of its protagonists Yasuke and Naoi, two characters who have entirely different playstyles, perhaps representative of AC styles with their games. While the games may have had a fall from grace, Mirage was a solid entry and a step in the right direction, and Shadows looks to do the same, even with the bigots providing their unasked and unwanted opinions and thoughts. That being said, Ubisoft had struck gold with their first entry in the AC franchise. The stealth mechanics, iconic white hoods, one of the greatest weapons in a video game, and without a doubt, the coolest movement in any video game at the time with their parkour system. Assassin's Creed 1 had it all with all of these qualities, including a good story and storied protagonist in Altair, but Assassin's Creed 2 was the start of something truly special. Now here's the prerequisites for how I define the greatest trilogy in gaming. It has to have two very important things, and that's the narrative and the gameplay. Narrative for obvious reasons, but the gameplay needs to have a sense of progression and evolution, essentially mirroring the story. As the story progresses and evolves, so should the gameplay, and the Ezio Trilogy does just that. That being said, I'm going to break down both the story and gameplay of this iconic trilogy, beginning with the gameplay of the three Assassin's Creed entries. Assassin's Creed 2 greatly improved on a solid system of parkour and overall movement mechanics from Assassin's Creed 1. Although a bit jagged and stiff looking back, the parkour became infinitely better in comparison, and it truly felt like you could fly during the different environments and cities throughout AC2. This same movement evolution continued throughout Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and AC Revelations. As the games progressed, the parkour and overall free running felt like you could put Ezio anywhere on any building at any point during these games. It also became easier and more fluid to make an escape using that parkour system. While AC Brotherhood had its own improved parkour from AC2, Revelations introduced a small but incredible way to traverse. The Hook Blade is an alteration of the iconic Hidden Blade and allows Ezio to have an extension of himself as he uses it to leap longer distances both horizontally across rooftops and vertically on multiple buildings. It even provided a new zip line to traverse the map even quicker. Not only that, but Ezio also gained a parachute, presumably courtesy of his friend Leonardo da Vinci. Combat evolution throughout the games is also something that must be touched on. AC2 had a combat mechanic where once an enemy had been killed, you simply had to point your joystick in another enemy's direction and press a single button, and just like that, you could chain kills and quickly clear entire crowds of enemies, making you feel like a true assassin. AC Brotherhood had the same mechanic in terms of one-hit kills, but it added even more visceral executions for each and every chain, especially for the last enemy in a group. However, in AC Revelations, the Hook Blade again changed a few things. It remained usable to actually kill enemies, but it also helped in combat when trying to escape. You can easily run at an enemy and basically run right through them or over them using the hook blade and a cool animation. There's also actual gameplay elements and not just weapons throughout all 3 games that continue to get better. Assassinations, double assassinations, air assassinations, war combat, horse chases, the wrist pistols, and so on and so forth. Each game may have had similar scale evolution in terms of overall gameplay, but the little things absolutely added up and were 100% perfected over time. However, now it's time to discuss, in my opinion, the most important part of a video game trilogy: the story. AC2 picks up and continues Desmond's story, but for the sake of this video and the entire topic, I'll be discussing Ezio's story only with necessary connections to Desmond's story. The reason Ezio was Ubisoft's most beloved protagonist is 100% attributed to the fact that we see Ezio's entire life literally from the start to the very end. AC2 opens up with Desmond entering a brand new animus in a secure location with the birth of Ezio, and in a very clever way of bonding us to the man, has prompts for the player to move Ezio's body as a newborn and truly coming to life. And it's here that our story begins. AC2 is a story of revenge. We spend time with Ezio's family, endearing us to each and every relative, all within the span of about an hour or 2 worth of gameplay. But of course, the revenge story has to start somewhere. A member of the auditory banking family, Ezio was born into a family of money as his father, Giovanni, was the head of the Medici Bank. However, he was also an assassin, a member of the Italian assassin brotherhood investigating for Lorenzo de' Medici, ruler of Florence at the time. Giovanni had uncovered a plot that caused the murder of the Duke of Milan and was worried Lorenzo was next. Whoever this plot was being carried out by was looking to seize power across all of Italy by any means necessary. He had also discovered that the plot was being carried out by the head of the Templar Order, the assassin's mortal enemy, Rodrigo Borgia, along with the help of the De' Pazzi family, who also happened to be enemies of the Auditori family. In fact, Ezio and Vieri de' Pazzi had a major run-in at the start of Assassin's Creed 2. However, Giovanni now had the information he needed to take them down, but with Lorenzo out of the city, the Templars planned to take Giovanni out before he had a chance to strike. Ezio had returned home from running errands for his family, which was the 1 to 2 hours of gameplay of us getting to know them and endear us to them. He learned that his father, older brother, and younger brother had been taken from their homes and thrown in jail. Ezio raced to the prison they were staying and spoke with his father.
Father, what's happened?
Took a bit of a beating, but I'm alright. What of your mother and sister?
Safe now.
Annetta took them.
Yes. Wait, you knew this would happen?
Not the way it did, and not this soon. Doesn't matter now.
What do you mean? Explain!
There's no time. Listen closely. Return to the house. In my office is a hidden door. Use your talent to find it. Beyond lies a chest. Take everything you find inside. Much of it may seem strange to you, but all of it is important. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Among the contents is a letter, and with it some documents. I need you to take these documents to Mr. Roberto. He was with me in the office this morning.
The Gonfalonieri, I remember. Now please, tell me what's happening. Are the Pazzi behind this? There was a note for you at the pigeon. It said, "Go, Ezio. Go now."
Ezio then runs home, puts the iconic robes and hood on, and takes the scroll inside, as well as papers he's instructed to deliver to Uberto Alberti. Uberto is a trusted ally of the Auditores, so Ezio listens to his father, and upon delivering the scroll, he's told this.
What are you doing here at this hour?
I don't...
Wait, child. Take a breath. Collect your thoughts.
My father and brothers have been imprisoned. I was told to bring you this.
I see now. It's a misunderstanding, Ezio. I'll clear everything up.
How?
The documents you've given me contain evidence of a conspiracy against your family and against the city. I'll present these papers at their hearing in the morning, and they'll be released.
Thank you, Signore.
Of course, my child. Do you need a place to stay? You're more than welcome here.
No, grazie. I'll meet you at the piazza.
Don't worry, Ezio. Everything is going to be fine.
Scared, but confident in his family friend, Ezio waits until the hearing in the morning. Ezio heads to the hearing and has a harrowing discovery. Uberto is not at all an ally and is the man that executes Ezio's father and brothers right in front of him.
Giovanni Auditore, You and your accomplices stand accused of the crime of treason. Have you any evidence to counter this charge?
Yes, the documents that were delivered to you last night.
I'm afraid I know nothing of these documents.
He's lying! Need to get closer.
In the absence of any compelling evidence to the contrary, I am bound to pronounce you guilty. You and your collaborators are hereby sentenced to death.
You are the traitor, Roberto, and one of them. You may take our lives this day, but we will have yours in return, I swear! We will!
Father!
There! Grab the boy! He's one of them!
I'll kill you for what you've done!
Before even continuing, I absolutely have to mention the voice acting from Roger Craig Smith. Hearing Ezio scream, "Father!" displayed exactly what any of us would say or do in that moment. Ezio at this point was just a boy who had no idea what his heritage truly was betrayed by someone he believed to be a friend, witnessed the death of half of his family, and was now forced to become the head of his family. Smith displayed so many emotions in that one simple word, and I praise his performance during the rest of these games. Ezio escapes from the site of his greatest sorrow after Uberto declared the guards to capture him and went to his mother Maria and his sister Claudia in a bordello run by Paola. He leaves and tells Paola that he plans to kill Uberto. Before he could leave, she stops him and teaches him the necessary skills to get rid of him without being killed himself. This was to become the start of a very long journey of mentors teaching Ezio the skills and virtues needed, as well as the true meaning of being an assassin.
Paramount in my profession. We must walk the streets freely, seen but unseen. You too must learn to blend like us, and become one with the city's crowds.
Paola teaches him how to properly hide in plain sight, use the crowd to blend in, how to distract his enemies to gain entry to places he cannot be, and almost most importantly, how to use the hidden blade, the weapon of choice for all assassins. In learning how to use the hidden blade, he must fix it before he truly could, and that was made possible by none other than Leonardo da Vinci using the scroll Ezio took from his father's secret study.
That he does, but I trust he did more than talk. I've given you the skills, Leonardo's given you the blade. All that remains is the deed.
Where can I find Uberto?
According to my girls, he'll be attending an unveiling tonight of Verrocchio's latest work. It will be held at the Santa Croce cloister.
Watch over my mother and sister while I'm away.
Of course, Ezio. As if they were my own.
You would have done the same. To save the ones you love.
Yes, I would. And I have. The Auditori are not dead! I'm still here! Me! Ezio! Ezio Auditore!
Not only did Ezio announce his family is still strong, but that he intends to find out why his father and brothers had to perish. Of course, the Pazzis are next on Ezio's list, but as a first sign of Ezio's transition into a man, he realizes that before anything, his family's safety must be ensured. He takes his family to his uncle's villa in Monteriggioni, but upon arrival, Vieri de Pazzi is there to ambush and kill Ezio and the rest of his family. However, Ezio and his family are rescued by his uncle, Mario Auditore.
As you wish. Here, use this.
Kill them! Kill them all! You have my thanks.
Keep the sword, Ezio.
Do I know you from somewhere?
Don't you recognize me? It's a me, Mario!
Uncle Mario?
It's been too long, Nipote. Far too long. I heard what happened in Firenze. Terrible. Come, let's get you all away from here.
Vieri flees, and rather than continuing his journey misguided and angrily, Ezio is convinced by Mario to remain and train in the ways of the assassin. The villa becomes home of the newly arrived auditores, and the family begins to invest in Monteriggioni, while Ezio himself, over the course of a few months, begins to learn more about his heritage, the history of the assassins, and of course the mission of the assassins in the coming months. Part of this work would be to decode the codex pages. Like the scroll hidden in his father's things, they were ancient writings lost to history, holding wisdom and knowledge that were once gathered by the legend himself, Altair.
All this talk of assassins and Templars, it reeks of fantasy.
Like something from an old parchment covered in arcane writing, perhaps?
How did you know?
You have your father's blade. I figured you have the codex page he was holding as well.
Not only that, but the pages also told a prophecy that would only be revealed should they be all collected once again. However, Ezio, alongside his uncle Mario, set out to first deal with an immediate problem in the De Pazzi family. Ezio and Mario learned that the De Pazzis are planning on moving forward with their original plan to kill Lorenzo de' Medici and take control of Florence. After learning this, Ezio and his uncle close in on Vieri, and Ezio learns perhaps one of the most important lessons to become an assassin.
What are you and your allies planning? Is this what my father discovered? Is this why he was killed?
I'm sorry. Were you hoping for a confession?
Pezzo di merda! Vorrei solo che avesse sofferto di più! Hai avuto la fine che meritavi! Spero che
Enough, Ezio! Show some respect.
Respect? After all that's happened, do you think he would have shown either of us such kindness?
You are not Vieri. Do not become him. Che la morte ti dia le pace che cercavi. Requiesca in pace. Take this. Read it when you have the time. Our work here is finished. Let us return to the villa.
Ezio returns to Florence to take care of his father, and I believe it's here that Ezio begins his true journey. Ezio meets the first of his allies, and his dismantling of the Templar Order in Italy truly begins. He meets La Volpe, the fox, and learns of another Templar meeting of how they plan to assassinate Lorenzo de' Medici. Lorenzo's brother is killed, but Ezio is able to intervene before Lorenzo himself is also killed. After saving Lorenzo, Ezio tracks down a fleeing Francesco de' Pazzi, the father of Vieri, and kills him.
Now Firenze will judge you for what you've done.
It's over. It's all over.
Meglio essere felici in questa vita che aspirare a esserlo nella prossima. Requiescat in pace.
Lorenzo, now knowing who's involved in the conspiracy to murder him and take Italy, provides Ezio with the necessary information to find Francesco's uncle Jacopo de' Pazzi. Upon learning of Jacopo's location at last, he stumbles upon a meeting between him and a familiar man, Rodrigo Borgia.
I'm sorry, Maestro. I did all I could, but the assassin proved too strong.
Clearly. Else the others would be here with you. To say nothing of the fact that Firenze remains in Medici hands.
It's Francesco's fault. His impatience made him reckless. I tried to be the voice of reason.
More like the voice of cowardice.
You're one to talk, Signor Barbarigo. Had you sent us quality weapons instead of this garbage you Venetians call armament?
We put our faith in your family, and you repay us with inaction and incompetence? Then when asked to account for your failures, you make excuses and insult us? How do you expect me to respond?
I don't know.
It's all right. I do.
No. Please. Don't.
Please don't what?
I can fix this. Only spare me.
No. What a mess. so sorry to have claimed your prize, assassin. Did you honestly think I wouldn't expect you to follow? That I didn't plan for it? We've been at this a lot longer than you. Kill him.
Having 4 years of experience as an assassin, Ezio escapes and leaves to Venice to learn the next step in the Templar conspiracy. Ezio knows the man working with Borgia is Emilio Barbarigo and needs to put an end to him. Unfortunately, he's inside an impenetrable fortress, so Ezio seeks out the aid of Venice's thieves led by Antonio and Rosa. Having 4 years of experience as an assassin, Ezio escapes and leaves to Venice to learn the next step in the Templar conspiracy. They know of his work in Florence and the rest of Tuscany and decide to help him as long as Ezio helps them break the hold Barbarigo has over Venice. He learns more and more skills as well as what it means to be an assassin from seemingly strangers. With the help of his newly found allies, Ezio breaks into the fortress and kills Emilio.
Do not be afraid.
I feel no fear, assassin. Only regret. I sought unity, stability, order.
At too great a cost.
Progress demands sacrifice.
Non trova alcuna gioia in questo, ma non c'è altro modo. Requiescat in pace.
Ezio heads to the meeting Emilio was meant to be at and learns of more men who are high-ranking Templars looking to take Venice. One of these men, Carlo Grimaldi, attempts to poison the Doge of Venice after he refused to conform to the Templar ideology. Ezio, unable to enter the Doge's compound, turns to Leonardo da Vinci and his creativity. Leonardo gives him an untested flying device and Ezio manages to just barely get inside the palazzo.
Stop! Signore, don't drink that!
You are too late. The Doge is dead.
What? Carlo?
Apologies, signore. But you should have listened to me when you had the chance. Seems you have failed, assassin.
And after warning the Doge, he catches up with Carlo and kills him.
It takes one assassin to kill another, it seems.
We kill thinking it's best for us. Do we not, Messer Ezio?
I do this not for myself. Compio questo sacrificio per il bene superiore. Requiescat in pace.
With the Doge dead, a Templar named Marco Barbarigo took his seat and Ezio uses the Carnival to mask his attack. Silvio Barbarigo, in response, amasses an army in the military district, so Ezio needs an army of his own in order to break that control. He meets with a man named Bartolomeo d'Alviano.
About goddamn time! I don't know if I should kiss you or slap you. Maybe both, just to be safe.
That's quite alright.
Who are you?
I'm Ezio Auditore da Firenze. I'm here to rescue you.
Let's see who winds up rescuing who.
What do you mean?
Down there! Stop them!
With his help, Ezio storms the district and takes care of Silvio's army. He then catches up with Silvio and his deadly bodyguard Dante Moro.
What's happened here? Why the boats? I thought you saw the Doge's seat.
Just a distraction. We were meant to sail.
Sail where?
I'll never tell. Cyprus is their destination. They want...
Non temete l'oscurità. Accettate il suo braccio. Requiescant in pace.
Ezio, after his interaction, burning for answers, would be forced to wait 2 full years before learning what the Templars want in Cyprus. During this time, Ezio, with the help of Leonardo, decoded more pages and learned of the prophecy. The boat that carried the Templars finally returned from Cyprus and held a piece of Eden. Ezio infiltrated this group of soldiers that were delivering the piece to Borgia and confronts him. Ezio is ambushed by guards, but much to his surprise, all of his allies along his journey up until this point have come to help him. His allies that have helped mold and shape him into an assassin over the past 10 years. These strangers that seem to have no real relation to each other come together and protect Ezio as well as the piece of Eden from the hands of Rodrigo Borgia. He managed to escape without the piece of Eden, and when the dust settled, Ezio's allies all revealed who they truly are. Video of Ezio's friend revealing their assassin, as well as the fact that Ezio is the prophet that the prophecy spoke of.
Paola!
He's gone, but we have what we came for.
No. I need to go after him.
Do you really now? Or are you here for another reason, my son?
Theodora? What?
What are you all doing here?
Perhaps the same thing you are, Ezio. Hoping to see the Prophet appear.
I came here to kill the Spaniard. I couldn't care less about your Prophet. He never showed up.
No? But you did.
What?
A Prophet's arrival was foretold. And unbeknownst to us, here you are. Perhaps all along, you were the one we sought.
Cosa? Who are you?
Niccolò di Bernardo de Machiavelli. I am an assassin, trained in the ancient ways to safeguard mankind's evolution. Just like you, and each one of us here.
You are all assassins? Paola? Volpe?
It's true, Nipote. We have all been guiding you for years, teaching you the skills you would need to join our ranks. I think it's time.
We have our prize, but there is much to be done. Come, meet us here at sunset.
La Volpe, Rosa, Antonio, Bartolomeo, Paola, all friends of Ezio, all allies, and most importantly, all assassins. They guided Ezio to become the assassin he was always meant to be, and now he would finally have that destiny come to fruition. And that night, Ezio is finally admitted into the Creed.
Other men blindly follow the truth. Remember,
nothing is true.
Where other men are limited by morality or law, remember,
everything is permitted.
We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins.
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
It is time, Ezio. In this modern age, we are not so literal as our ancestors, but our seal is no less permanent. Are you ready to join us?
I am.
This must never fall into the wrong hands. It would drive weaker minds insane.
No doubt the Spaniard will be relentless in his desire to gain it back.
Ezio, you must protect this with all the skills we have taught you.
Take it to Forli. The citadel is walled, protected by cannons, and our ally controls it.
Who is this ally?
Her name is Caterina Sforza.
You don't say. I think I may enjoy this mission.
Because the apple reacted to him in a way that it never has, we now have confirmation that Ezio is the prophet that was foretold. However, even without the piece of Eden, the Templars' plans still move forward. It would be another 10 years before the assassins are able to make another move against the Templars, making Ezio now 37. The year is now 1499, and Rodrigo Borgia has worked to extend his power and reach over Italy as he is now the Pope. The assassins finally decide it is time to put an end to Rodrigo once and for all after getting all of the Codex pages.
Ezio.
It is time, Uncle. Let us finish what you and my father started all those years ago.
Indeed. Perhaps now we can finally make sense of this prophecy and put a stop to whatever it is the Spaniard is plotting.
We should start by locating the vault. The Codex pages will lead us to it. Let's take a look.
Once the pages are assembled correctly, they reveal the location of the vault. It exists within the Vatican City.
It is a map of the entire world, but there are lands shown here that do not exist.
Apparently they do exist. I imagine they've yet to be discovered. Or rediscovered.
How is this possible?
Perhaps the vault will hold the answer.
Do you see where it is, then?
No. It can't be. The vault. It looks like the vault is in Roma. The Spaniard. This is why he became Pope.
Now I understand. It's not the vault alone he's gained access to, but the staff as well.
What staff?
The Codex always spoke of two keys. Two pieces of Eden needed to open the vault. One is the apple.
And the other is the staff. The papal staff is the second piece of Eden.
For years, no, decades, we've sought these answers.
And now, at last, we have them.
But so too could the Spaniard. And if he does, if he finds a way into the vault, its contents will make the apple seem a trifling thing.
I must go to Roma and find the vault. What are the rest of you?
We'll do what we do best. Cause some trouble in the city, giving you the freedom to conduct your search.
Just let me know when you are ready, Nipote.
Not only was Rodrigo being the boat beneficial in terms of reach and power, but he clearly wanted it because it granted him access to the vault and subsequently the papal staff, which was another piece of Eden. Rodrigo knew the vault would need 2 pieces of Eden to be opened, which is why he waited. He knew Ezio couldn't stay away, and since he had the apple, all he had to do was wait for Ezio to come to him. While the assassins made their way to Rome and caused trouble and a distraction, Ezio used this as cover to enter the Vatican during Rodrigo's sermon.
I thought I was beyond this, but I'm not. I've waited too long, lost too much. Requiescat in pace, you bastard.
I don't think so.
A fight ensues and both battle using their respective pieces of Eden. After trading blows, Rodrigo's experience with the piece proves to be too much for Ezio, so he momentarily leaves and uses the apple to enter the vault. Ezio, injured but still willing to fight, pursues Rodrigo into the vault. The vault doesn't open for Rodrigo as he is not the prophet that the prophecy foretold. Ezio, ready to kill Rodrigo after beating him to a pulp, comes to a realization that is the culmination of 2 decades of pain and suffering.
You can't. You can't. It's my destiny. Mine. I am the prophet.
You never were.
Get it over with, then.
No. Killing you won't bring my family back. I'm done. Nulla è reale. Tutto è lecito. Requiescat in pace.
And with that, Ezio enters the vault.
Greetings, Prophet. It is good you have come. Let us see it, to give thanks. We must speak.
Who are you?
Many names. When I died, it was Minerva. Before that, Merva and Mera. And on and on. The others, too. Juno, who was before called Uni. Jupiter, who was before called Tinia. No, not gods. We simply came before. Even when we walked the world, your kind struggled to understand our existence. We were more advanced in time. Your minds were not yet ready. Still not. Maybe never. No matter. You may not comprehend us, but you will comprehend our warning. You must.
The woman that you see, Minerva, is a projection of an advanced civilization that lived before man. Not gods, but they did create man to be their slaves. In fact, the idea of evolution in the Assassin's Creed universe exists solely because the Templars made it up to cover up the existence of these people, the Isu. The oppressed decided to disobey their masters as they wished for more. Shortly after this rebellion, a celestial event would take place that laid waste to the entirety of the world. The ones that remained, both Isu and man, worked together to rebuild the world once more. More Minerva talking. Ezio explains she wishes to speak to Desmond.
Your kind betrayed us. We who made you. We who gave you life. We were strong, but you were many. And both of us craved war. So busy were we with earthly concerns, we failed to notice the heavens. And by the time we did, the world burned until naught remained but ash.
Her message through Ezio to Desmond is that another celestial event is coming. The vault Ezio is in and temples around the world contain wisdom and knowledge that will help man stop the celestial event from shaking the world to its very core. After learning what he must do, Desmond leaves before being captured by Abstergo and continues his journey. Include the game switching from AC2 to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Ezio Auditore. Brave of you to stand alone against me, but also quite foolish. Assassin.
Ezio, confused and desiring answers to what had just unfolded, reflected exactly what Desmond himself was feeling. With the modern-day assassin cells dwindling to nothing, Desmond and his friends must get a move on in order to stop the celestial event that will wipe out everyone on Earth. They're the last line of defense against the catastrophe, as well as Abstergo. If they get their hands on even a single piece of Eden, their satellite launch will hold control over everyone alive. But no matter what, Desmond is running out of time. The team heads to Monteriggioni to hide out and set up the Animus once more. They realize that when Minerva touched Ezio's apple, she altered it, perhaps providing the location of the temples. They find the apple, they find the temple. Once more, we return to Ezio. Shocked and desperate for answers, Ezio escapes the Vatican, and while he may not understand Minerva's words of caution and urgency, he understands he must hide the apple. From man, as it is too powerful, and from the Templars, as they'll only bring about sorrow. For now, as Ezio leaves Rome with his assassins, he entrusts the apple to his uncle, Mario. As the pair return to Monteriggioni, it is in a much better place, as Ezio had been pouring money, time, and resources into the place since he arrived all those years ago. It became a home for his family, and perhaps more importantly, a home for the Assassin Brotherhood. All who enter the gates of Monteriggioni are safe, and all assassins have returned to their rightful homes. While the Templar threat may be squashed for the time being, these cities still require the assassin's presence. So for now, Ezio regales his uncle, family, and fellow assassin Niccolo Machiavelli the tales of what had happened in the Vatican and how he had spared the life of Rodrigo Borgia, leaving him in the hands of fate. Play video of Niccolo getting angry. Rodrigo's alive.
Tell me how it ended with Borgia. Did Rodrigo beg forgiveness? Make excuses? Promise power in return?
No, none of those things.
Interesting. I'm surprised he remained so composed.
I let him leave.
The Spaniard lives! Once our enemies are dead, we can speak of vaults and gods and ancient places. You should have killed him. We're sure to suffer for it.
I am not here to debate the past. Together, we should discuss the future.
The assassins understand that while they have to investigate Minerva's warning, they have a more immediate threat. The iron grip that the Borgias have over Italy, as he is still the Pope. For now, the assassins rest for the night and consider their options going forward.
I have to find Mario and rally the troops.
My men are in the courtyard. I aim to lead them around back and flank our attackers.
Stay out of sight.
Monteriggioni, Ezio's home and the home of the Assassin Brotherhood, the heart and soul of the Auditores, is being destroyed by the Borgia's papal army.
We need to hold them off until the townspeople have escaped.
I will take care of it.
Use the cannons above the ramparts. I intend to lead a frontal assault.
Do you have it?
I am keeping it safe. The Borgia must not be allowed to breach the walls until everyone is safely away. Insieme per la vittoria.
Insieme.
The two wish each other luck as Ezio heads to defend the wall. Ezio, fumbling through the village like a madman, makes it to the wall. He knows it's futile to try and save the villa, but the people he would give his life for.
Some townspeople still haven't escaped!
But as the final civilians escape, the gates are finally breached.
We've had too much bloodshed. I think a cleansing is in order. So consider this an invitation from my family to yours.
The family that he speaks of is Borgia, the son of the Pope, the son of the man who killed our family. He is the leader of the papal army, and his name is Cesare Borgia. He has all that Ezio holds dear: Caterina, the apple, and most importantly, his uncle, Mario. Ezio, wounded and almost unable to process what had just occurred, ensures the safety of his family and fights to make sure they escape.
I will hold them back. Stop! Wait for us!
We thought you had been killed, Sir Ezio.
Not yet.
Where does this passage lead?
To the north, outside the walls.
I am surprised it exists. Let me through. I must go help the troops.
The family and Monteriggioni's people have made it out of the tunnels.
Get me a horse.
You are not coming with us. Where are you riding?
To Roma.
Go, my son. Destroy them. But remember for whom we assassins fight.
Ezio begins to struggle because he finds himself in a familiar situation. Hatred and anger in his heart, desperate for revenge once again. He heads to Rome with an unwavering goal in mind, to rid Italy of the Borgias once and for all and reclaim the Apple of Eden. However, the injuries prove to be too much and threw a wrench in the plans for him. Back in 2012, the assassins notice a series of triangles in the assassin tomb as they explore the Auditore Villa. Through the use of eagle vision, the triangles reveal a set of numbers.
Looks like something Ezio left behind. There are numbers underneath it. 1419, 1420, and 1421.
Maybe you should lie down for a bit.
No, it's alright. I'm fine.
But they don't have time to consider what they could be. The assassins understand they must get back to Ezio and find the piece of Eden. Ezio wakes up in Rome being tended to by a woman, presumably a friend of Machiavelli.
Where have you brought me?
Nowhere, Messere. A man left you here.
Did he say anything?
Only this. You are to meet Messer Machiavelli in front of the Mausoleo di Augusto. Let me help you get dressed.
Ezio dons the iconic white robes once more, now starting fresh with no money, no codex weapons, no mentor. He makes his way through a Rome entirely under the rule of the Borgia. Unwavering threats like the Cento Occhi, the 100 Eyes, and the followers of Romulus also lie in the wake of the Borgia's rule. They have the people of Rome under an iron fist, and it's up to Ezio to stop them. He meets his ally Machiavelli, and with his knowledge of Rome, sets out to put the assassins back on top. As the Borgia believes he's dead, he can work in the shadows once more. He'll need it in the fight against Cesare.
Rodrigo surrounds himself with snakes and birds. Even his daughter Lucrezia has been sharpened into one of his most artful weapons. But she pales in comparison to the man behind the villa attack. He is ambitious, ruthless, and cruel beyond imagining. The laws of men mean nothing. He murdered his own brother to take power. He knows neither danger nor fatigue. Those who do not fall by his sword clamor to join his ranks.
His ambition and his lust for power saw him kill his only brother, and his cruelty sent many to the gallows to hang for their crimes. However, his work was done by a man named Micheletto. Ezio and Machiavelli devise a plan to dismantle the Borgia and their allies' hold over Rome. Ezio begins attacking the Borgia captains that rule various districts and let the people know they no longer have to suffer, and in an attempt to gain their trust in the assassins, he returns them their freedom by restoring banks and various businesses, helping Rome prosper from the Borgia's chokehold. While loosening the Borgia hold, Ezio is introduced to Fabio Orsini, a man who gives them a brand new headquarters in Rome.
Fabio Orsini, at your service. I've heard a great deal about you from my cousin, Bartolomeo d'Alviano.
A fine warrior.
Fabio has lent us in a new storeroom on Isola Tiberina.
I know you were used to better accommodations in Toscana.
It is perfect.
Bene. Then I am off to begin preparations for Romagna. Today, Cesare commands my men, but soon I hope we will be free.
He may be bound to the Borgia for the time being, but he aligns his ideas and heart with the assassins and wishes to break free. Machiavelli advises Ezio of 3 factions in Rome they will need the help of to take down the Borgia. However, they face their own dilemmas. Fabio's cousin Bartolomeo from Assassin's Creed 2 runs the muscle typically used by the assassins but are currently being beaten by Cesare's French allies. The courtesans are also a massive help when it comes to blending in.
But the madam there is lazy and would rather attend parties than further our cause.
And the thieves are run by La Volpe, but...
Si, but they refuse to talk to us. I don't know why.
Ezio visits each and every one of these factions and in an attempt to gain their trust helps smooth out their issues. Ezio helps Bartolomeo dismantle the Borgia hold in the area so that his mercenaries can breathe, and he then visits the home of the courtesans to see if he can persuade them to assist the assassin's cause. The Madonna Solari, kidnapped by the Cento Occhi, is killed and Ezio enacts his revenge. He returns to the brothel to find 2 unexpected guests.
Mother? Sister?
Ezio. Sir Machiavelli said that you might be here.
What are you doing in Roma? Has Firenze been attacked?
No, or rather, I do not know. We did not go to Firenze.
Ezio needs his family to be safe.
Where is Madonna Solari?
She's dead.
Merda.
And needs the courtesans to stay in business. Their ability to obtain information is unparalleled and Ezio absolutely needs them.
We're finished.
I'll do it.
You do not belong here, Claudia.
I know how to run a business. I ran on Comerios for years.
This is different.
What alternative do you have, Ezio?
You do this, Claudia, and you are on your own.
I've been on my own for 20 years.
Fine. I intend to repair the brothel. This place is a real mess, and I want your courtesans to find Caterina Sforza.
Ezio allows her, but it's obvious they become distant from one another. It has been 20 years he has devoted to taking down the Borgia. He finally has to see La Volpe and learns...
What do you make of that?
Machiavelli is a close confidant and friend to the papal army as well as Cesare Borgia himself, and La Volpe clearly doesn't like this. Ezio, however, refuses to believe that he's a traitor and believes it's simply in Machiavelli's nature to obtain information in any way he can. But Ezio remains unwavering in his opinion of Machiavelli, and La Volpe reluctantly agrees to help the assassins once more. Having fixed their issues, Ezio's allies agree to lend a helping hand. La Volpe and his spies will search for the apple, Claudia and the courtesans will look for Caterina, and Bartolomeo will find the location of Cesare. Ezio waits outside the Castello Sant'Angelo for Caterina to arrive.
Ha! No one kneels as low as Lucrezia Borgia! Who put you up to this? Was it your brother or your father? Perhaps a bit of both? Perhaps at the same time?
Ezio then enters the Castello and overhears a conversation between Cesare and his allies. The men are Octavian de Vola, Micheletto, and an unknown man.
She cannot waver, which means neither can you.
What of Il Vaticano?
That tired old man's club. Play along for now, but soon we will have no need of them.
Cesare wishes to break free from his father. While they may be working towards the same goal, the 2 men wish to use different means. Cesare wants power and the reins of Italy to belong to him. He doesn't wish to share anything with his father and wants to proceed without him. Ezio then discovers a disgusting secret.
Lucrezia... I hope you have treated our guest with kindness.
And Cesare is soon called away by the Pope. Ezio confronts Lucrezia.
Please, continue. I did not mean to interrupt.
Ezio Auditore da Firenze. How nice to finally meet after hearing so much. A pity Cesare is no longer here. He would have enjoyed this.
My fight is not with you, Lucrezia. Free Caterina, and I will stand down.
Impossible.
Then you leave me no choice.
And drags her to free Caterina.
Always a pleasure. Bring her here, I'll take the key. Classy. Guards! Guards! That's enough out of you!
The pair flee and return to Assassin HQ. They learn Cesare has left Rome to further his hold over Italy, so in the meantime, they try themselves to dismantle more of the Borgia hold over Rome. Ezio begins aiding enemies of the Borgia, recruiting them to the Brotherhood. Working in the shadows, building the Brotherhood, creating an army to take down the Borgia once and for all. Caterina leaves Rome and reminds Ezio that he is now the leader of the assassins. He must take back Rome. While recruiting more soldiers, Ezio runs into a familiar face.
Chi è là?
Ezio!
Leonardo!
I knew you were behind the break-in at Sant'Angelo. It is good to see you, friend.
Come here.
Leonardo makes his return but reveals he's been coerced into helping the Borgia.
They have commandeered my services. Actually, they would have killed me had I refused.
What do they want?
War machines. I have constructed weapons for all the Borgia guards and other terrible monstrosities besides.
And this will not sit with Ezio. He takes action and begins sabotaging these weapons for Leonardo and soon learns another truth. The Pope has the apple but is locked away deep in the Castello, and Ezio has bigger problems at the moment. Bartolomeo must be assisted in tackling the French army led by Octavian. The assassins must also try and get Cesare back in the city, but for this, Ezio has a plan.
Where have you been?
We all have our secrets.
I took the liberty of setting up a means of communication with your recruits. We send orders via carrier pigeon.
Thank you, Machiavelli.
Bartolomeo sends his apologies. The French have doubled their assault.
Claudia.
Ezio.
All right. I have a plan to deal with the Borgia.
We can either go after supplies or Cesare's followers.
My plan is to attack both. If we cut off his funds, Cesare will lose his army and return without his men. So, I ask you, where does he get his money? Volpe?
Agostino Chigi is the Pope's moneylender, but Cesare does business with someone else. As of now, all we know is that he is called the Banker.
I know someone who owes the banker money. Senator Egidio Troche comes in all the time and complains.
Bene. I will follow up on that lead.
French soldiers are guarding the road back into the Castello. Once Cesare arrives, you will never get to him.
I intend to kill the French general. With him dead, Bartolomeo will have the Frenchmen on the defensive, and they will abandon their posts on the bridge.
Even with those troops gone, the Papal Guard will continue to protect the inner gate.
There is a side entrance. Lucrezia's latest plaything, Pietro, has a key.
He was at the Castello.
Come see me later. I will have my thieves ascertain his location.
He tracks down the banker, takes the disguise of one of his soldiers, and gains access to a party where the banker will be. As it turns out, the bank is the secret third unknown man that Ezio met with Cesare in the Castello the day that Ezio broke Caterina out.
Way to celebrate my victories than to join in the Brotherhood of Man. Soon, we will be here once more, celebrating a united Italia. And then, the feasting will last for 40 days and 40 nights. Cominciamo ora!
We did not agree to conquer Italia.
If your brilliant Captain General says we can do it, why not rejoice and let it happen?
You risk upsetting the delicate balance of control we have worked so hard to tighten.
I appreciate all that you have done for me, but I have the army, so I am making the decisions. Don't look so good. Enjoy yourself.
But this only shows more of a divide between Cesare and his father. He is no longer the same man hell-bent on power. After his defeat to Ezio, he doesn't care for ruling. His only concern is the apple now, along with his Templar order. Cesare, on the other hand, is only concerned with power. He yearns to be revered, to not be a Templar operating in the shadows like the assassins. And with this, Rodrigo feels his power as Pope is slipping away. But while the father and son depart the party, Ezio takes care of the banker, Juan Borgia. Video of Juan being killed.
The things I have felt, seen, and tasted, I do not regret a moment of it.
A man of power must be contemptuous of delicacies.
But I gave the people what they wanted.
And now you pay for it. Il piacere immeritato si consuma da sé. Requiescat in pace.
With Juan dead, the courtesans take his money and repurpose it for their own interests. The assassins must defeat Cesare's French allies if they truly wish to apply pressure to him. With the leader of the French army having kidnapped Bartolomeo's wife, the assassins now have a new focus, but the French general wants Bartolomeo to surrender. Ezio convinces him to calm down, and they, along with Bartolomeo's army, steal French outfits and escort Bartolomeo in chains to infiltrate the Baron's camp.
Currency! Unlike yours! Which is counterfeit.
How dare you?
You think that commanding an army grants you nobility? Nobility comes from fighting beside your soldiers, not kidnapping a woman to cheat your way out of battle. Why don't you grow a pair and release my wife?
You savages never learn.
Fighting ensues between the mercenaries and the Baron's army. Ezio finds the Baron and kills him, reuniting Bartolomeo and his wife. Having done all they can, the assassins must set their sights directly onto defeating the Borgia and gaining control of the apple once more. The apple is also just as important to the modern day assassins. If Ezio can get his hands on the apple and keep it, Desmond and his friends will be able to find it. Abstergo is losing their ability to control consumers through entertainment and general corporate rule. The satellite launch they're planning may be the solution, as it's built around a piece of Eden, allowing them to bend the world to their will.
Something's bothering you. Today's date is October 10th.
So?
Guess how many days there are until the Templar satellite launch?
I have a feeling I know the answer. 72.
The bleeding effect has helped Desmond tremendously in the past month. He's learned to fight, move, and think just like an assassin is meant to. However, too much of the bleeding effect can cause insanity in Desmond, just like it did for the human experiment before him at Abstergo, Subject 16. See, 16 was actually able to leave clues within the Animus to find him, as he is now a program existing in the Animus and warns us of she is not who you think she is, and tells us he's with us. But right now there's no time to decipher his words. Desmond continues through Ezio's journey. The apple now rests in the Castello in the hands of Rodrigo Borgia, and Cesare will head there in hopes that he will receive more funds for his dying army. La Volpe may have a way into the castle.
Buongiorno, Ezio.
It is time to pay a visit to Lucrezia's lover, Pietro.
But not only that, more information has been revealed, fanning the flames of La Volpe's suspicions of Machiavelli.
If I may.
What is it?
Someone warned Rodrigo to stay away from the Castello.
Machiavelli? Do you have proof?
No.
We must not be split apart by mere suspicion.
The Borgia know the locations of our spies.
Who told them?
Maestro Machiavelli asked about our search for Pietro earlier today.
Ezio?
However, Ezio still refuses to condemn Machiavelli and assist La Volpe in his efforts to save his spies from being ambushed and killed. In doing so, Ezio sees a familiar face. A face even we as the player may not recognize until it's brought to our attention. A face that he has not seen since the attack on Villa Auditore.
Stop! Wait for us! We thought you had been killed, Ser Ezio.
Not yet.
Where does this passage lead?
To the north, outside the walls.
Let me through. I must go help the troops.
Un momento! You were at the Villa Auditore during the attack.
He chases him down, and after killing him, Ezio and the thieves find the keys and use them for the side entrance of the Castello. Before the attack on the Castello, Ezio wishes to see his newfound family in the assassins and his blood, Claudia and his mother. He's proud of her for her work with the courtesans and decides he wishes to be closer to his dear sister once more.
We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins.
Claudia, we here dedicate our lives to protecting the freedom of humanity. Mario, our father, and our brother once stood around this fire, fighting off the darkness. Now, I offer the choice to you. Join us.
And after inducting his sister into the Brotherhood, Machiavelli wishes to recognize Ezio's importance as well.
You and I have not seen eye to eye on many issues.
Niccolo!
But you are exactly what the Order needed. You have led the charge against the Templars and rebuilt this Brotherhood. Now, we must put Ezio where he belongs. At the head of the assassins. Ezio Auditore da Firenze. You will now be known as Il Mentore, the guardian of our order and our secrets.
And with that, the assassins officially have a new leader on the throne, left by our old friend Mario. Ezio Auditore is now the mentor of the Italian Assassin Brotherhood, and his first act to end the Borgia control and retrieve the Apple of Eden. Ezio gets to the Castello in time to see Cesare arrive, use the key to get in, and heads to the Pope's apartments.
What has happened here?
I do not know what you mean.
My funds, my troops, gone!
Financial difficulties strike all of us, even those with an army.
You intend to give me money?
No, I do not.
And it's here we see the relationship between the father and son at its most strained. Cesare threatens all the Templars stand to do, and Rodrigo looks to poison Cesare, ironically enough, through the use of an apple.
Get out of my way, old man.
I gave you everything, and yet it's never enough.
Cesare! He intends to poison you!
You would not listen to reason.
Father, do you not see? I control all of this. If I want to live, I live. If I want to take, I take. If I want you to die, you die! Where is the piece of Eden?
Cesare is sick, but leaves with enough will to find the apple after being given the location, but Ezio must learn of it too. Rodrigo is dead, and ironically, not at the hands of fate, but of his own making.
I know. I know where that bastard is going. San Pietro. The pavilion in the courtyard.
Thank you.
Ezio leaves and beats Cesare to the piece, using the power of the apple to escape the Vatican back to Assassin HQ.
Rodrigo Borgia is dead.
And Cesare?
Poisoned, but alive.
We must not allow him to assemble his remaining supporters. The coming weeks are critical.
With your aid, I will hunt him down.
My men will patrol the city, but we might need an army.
We have one.
Cesare is now stalling in the coming weeks, waiting for Micheletto to arrive. Ezio finds him consorting with his small army and uses the apple to put an end to the papal army, and with his influence depleting, so too does the Templar power in the Vatican. For the next 2 years, the assassins wait for their chance to strike at Cesare for good. In those 2 years, assassin presence only grew in Rome, and it was now the Templars who were forced into hiding. Some form of peace and prosperity had finally returned to Rome, but that was coming to an end as Ezio had gotten news of Cesare's return.
Gather the assassins and face him together.
All of Italia shall be united, and you will rule beside me. Come to watch my triumph. Soon Micheletto and his army will arrive, but you shall be dead before then.
Ezio uses the apple to hold off Cesare's soldiers, but an army is on the horizon.
Micheletto's troops mass behind me. We will take back my city once and for all.
But it's not Micheletto with the French. His army had not arrived. It's a familiar face and an ally to the assassins. Fabio Orsini, the cousin of Bartolomeo, the man who gave the assassins their HQ in Rome.
Oh, no! 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 This is not how it ends! Chains will not hold me! I will not die by the hand of man!
As it seems, the assassins are finally free of Cesare, but for Ezio, he remains uneasy. Leonardo convinces Ezio, despite his fears of the apple, to use the piece to learn of what Cesare plans, and confirms his fears that Cesare had help and would gain power once more.
Cesare was right. I have to leave.
What about your friends?
I built this brotherhood to last, with or without me.
What do you intend to do?
Plant a seed. Here, a gift.
If this is goodbye, then keep your money. I do not want it.
We will see each other again. You have my word. Buona fortuna, my oldest friend.
What Ezio saw was Micheletto freeing Cesare as he would continue his conquest of power. He also understood through the apple where and when they would meet again, 4 years later in a Spain battlefield. During those years, he would leave the apple in a place he knows would keep it safe, and finally he meets Cesare once more. He fights through the battlefield and conflict between the Spanish soldiers and the Borgia army. He cares not for this conflict, only for Cesare. He finally meets him on the walls of Castle Viana.
Fortuna will not fail me! I am the best fighter who ever lived! The throne was mine!
Wanting something, does not make it your right.
What do you know?
That a true leader empowers the people he rules.
I will lead mankind into a new world.
Che nessuno ricordi il tuo nome. Requiescat in pace.
You cannot kill me. No man can murder me!
Then I leave you in the hands of fate.
And just like that, the Templar Grandmaster is gone. Like the choice he made with his father, Ezio let fate decide Cesare's fate. Finally, the assassins can rest as their mission is complete. Ezio can rest now that he got his revenge. Our hero will fight once more, but for now, he has earned his rest. The modern-day assassins learn that the apple is in Rome beneath the Colosseum. Ezio found this vault when fleshing out the followers of Romulus, but didn't have the means of opening the vault until he obtained the apple. He left it there with a clue, for he knows someone one day will need to wield it once more using only the gifts he himself has. In case you forgot, he left it in the clue of the triangles on the Villa Auditore.
Symbol matches the one on the door to the vault.
1419, 1420, 1421. What if they aren't dates?
1419, 1420. Oh my god.
What?
God!
Tell us already!
I am! The Tetragrammaton, the 72 names of God. You see? They're all contained within 3 verses, Exodus 19 through 21. And get this, you'll like this, if you arrange the 4 Hebrew letters in God's name within an equilateral triangle, their numerical values add up to the same number. 72.
Are you absolutely sure about this?
That's kind of why I'm saying it out loud, Rebecca, yeah, but I haven't got to the kicker yet. Construction on the Colosseum began in the year 72.
I think we have our password.
Sean, go get the van.
The assassins, now knowing the password to the vault, head to Rome. When spoken, it'll unlock the vault, but the assassins realize something. Whether on accident or by design of the Templars, they put it together that the satellite launch of Abstergo is also in 72 days. The assassins make their way deeper into the vault, and Desmond comes across another hologram, just like Minerva. Only it isn't her. It's a new woman named Juno.
We commit to this space the epilogue of our ending. Let it be found by he who is deemed worthy. Let it guide him. Let it shape his path forward. Let it save the world we leave behind.
As he makes his way towards the vault, Juno provides insight into the previous cataclysm and her efforts to preserve her kind and humanities. They left their tools and materials to man, but proved to be of no use. They became lost to time, and the ones who came before, those like Juno and Minerva, didn't create man to be intelligent or understand what they are or from where they come. However, the world now rests on the shoulders of one of them. Desmond understands. He's proof they can understand, but the Templars as well as corrupt men use these tools wrongly rather than understanding, willfully using them to impose their will on others rather than building something better. The ones that came before destroyed whatever they could and hid what they couldn't in vaults and temples. If they could not save themselves, they would save their wisdom. Some humans could never understand because they didn't have the sixth sense of Ezio or Desmond. These men were of 2 different worlds. They may not be able to fully access the abilities of the ones who came before, but the assassins with eagle vision were the only tie between the humans and the ones who came before. This could have been how they believed their race would live on, through these very rare individuals who could understand them, as they were the only ones who could ever have access to this knowledge and wisdom. Desmond reaches the vault and speaks the password and is granted access to the vault. He reaches the apple, and as he approaches, it bursts and beams with lights and symbols.
That's a Phrygian cap. It stands for freedom.
But in the midst of Sean's ramblings, he is put to a halt as Desmond touches the apple and hears a voice.
What's happening? I can't move.
Your DNA communes with the apple. You have activated it.
As Juno speaks, Desmond is able to use his own body. He turns to Lucy, his closest friend and perhaps something more, and under the control of the apple, extends the hidden blade, killing her.
The path must be opened. You cannot escape your part in this. The scales shall be balanced.
Stop, please!
You You know very little. We must guide you. Cease your struggle.
No!
It is done. The way lies all before you. Only she remains to be found. Awaken the sixth. Go, alone!
The trauma of what has just happened and mixed with the power of the apple, he passes out and will not wake up. Who's meant to accompany Desmond? Why did the apple force him to kill his friend? What is the real plan of the ones who came before, and will Desmond come back? For the answers to these pertinent questions, we look to AC Revelations.
Also give me warning that the road to Masyaf is overrun by mercenaries and bandits, not native to this land. What this could mean, I dread to guess.
Desmond returns to consciousness, still with the burning questions left at the end of AC Brotherhood. Dazed and confused, seemingly on a shorefront, Desmond still remembers. He remembers Ezio, Altair, his friends, and most importantly, the apple. He remembers what it made him do to his friend, and he still questions why it made him do it. He also remembers the all too familiar voice. The voice of his father, William, the man who came to him after he went unconscious. He begins wandering around this shorefront as he reaches something that seems to be a gateway. Then, he learns he's not alone. This is the man who's been leaving clues to the truth of the ones who came before within the Animus. Subject 16's consciousness is stuck here, but where exactly are we?
Walk with me.
What is this place?
It's nice, isn't it? We're in the guts of the Animus. The original test program. No memories here, just basic physics, weather simulations. Hello, world. That thing is your way out.
You're screwing with me.
Here's the problem. Your brain is hash. Too many ghosts in your head, too many voices. So how do you fix that? You claw your way back into the stored data, you find unfinished memories, and you crack them open. Finish what you started, until your ancestor has nothing left to show you. That is a sync nexus.
Desmond needs to attain a sync nexus, and through the gateway are unfinished memories. If Desmond synchronizes with these memories of his ancestors, he can attain a sync nexus and return to his body before it's too late. And those ancestors are Altair and of course Ezio Auditore. The year is 1511 and Ezio is currently 51 years old. He's seen more than his fair share of conflict and life. He's seen the rise and fall of the Borgia as well as the revitalization of the Italian Brotherhood. As we pick up with Revelations, Ezio has been on a journey for over a year. A journey for truth. There was a letter written the year before he was born where his father Giovanni discussed the library and its contents of unparalleled ancient wisdom hidden beneath the home of Altair, Masyaf Castle. Ezio ascends the walls of the castle and feels his ancestor climbing with him, touching each stone once held by his own blood, and while Ezio may not recognize this castle, Desmond absolutely will. The assassins haven't called Masyaf their home for a very long time. They no longer live in castles above everyone, but within the very cultures and communities that they wish to protect. Ezio himself had already been in Masyaf for some time and met the new residents of the land. The Templars are here now and they too know of the library. Ezio found himself captured by them and was to be hung, but as I'm sure we all understand by now, after 30 long years of being an assassin, this did nothing to hold him back. Side note, this is probably one of my favorite cinematic trailers in all Assassin's Creed games. As Ezio plunges from the castle and into the water, he discovers that the Templars are just outside the locked doors of the library.
Be merciful, please. I am a working man with a family.
Doing what kind of work?
Digging mostly. It took me a year to find this chamber. And for the past 3 months I've been trying to break through this door.
You've not made much progress.
I have not made a dent. This stone is harder than steel.
I doubt you will. This door is guarding objects more valuable than all the gold in the world.
Ezio learns from the worker that the location of the remaining keys are in the book and that the Templar captain has it. He chases him down and finally gets his man.
Well,
hound still has a bite.
The book you carry, where is it?
Niccolo Polo's journal. This will do you no good. Not now. We have found one of the Masyaf keys already, and are closing in on the rest.
What is in that library is not for you, not for the Templars.
You can have Altair's books, Ezio. We only want guidance. We only want directions. To the location of the Grand Temple.
Grand Temple? Tell me more, now.
What was this Grand Temple? Ezio and Desmond had never heard of this, so what is it that had granted it the moniker of Grand? Ezio begins reading through the book written by Niccolo Polo, who was a student of the Assassins. The door to Altair's library requires 5 keys, and Ezio knew the Templars have one, having been found beneath the Sultan Palace in Constantinople. Ezio knows that while his knowledge of the actual contents of the library may be limited, he knows whatever it holds cannot fall into the hands of the Templars. Upon arriving to Constantinople, he befriends a young student.
A magnificent sight.
It is a work in progress.
No city in Europa has a skyline quite like this.
Who is the grandson of the Sultan, a fact Ezio will not know until much later. Constantinople is prospering under Ottoman rule after their war with the Byzantines.
Fall of Constantinople.
You must mean the conquest of Constantinople. I suppose the moral of any story matches the temper of the man telling it.
That we can agree on.
Rizal, Constantinople is a city for all kinds and creeds. Students like me or travelers such as yourself.
After departing with his young friend, Ezio is given the opportunity to make another friend.
Hoş geldin kardeşim. Unless the legend is a lie, you are the man I long to meet. Renowned master and mentor. Ezio Auditore de la.
Yusuf is Ezio's reflection, as he is the head of the Ottoman Brotherhood of Assassins. With the rise of the Byzantines now under the Templar banner, he's had a lot of work to get done. As it stands, there are 2 candidates for the next Sultan, Prince Ahmed and Prince Selim, with Ahmed having a stronger claim to the throne and Selim using his army to take it by force. The Byzantines mean to use this conflict to try and rise once more, but the Ottoman army are still no pushovers.
Templars, look sharp. No. Watch. Byzantium is dead, as are you.
Ezio's curiosity takes over and wishes to learn more from the Ottoman Brotherhood, and Yusuf feeds that curiosity.
Where is your hook blade?
My hook blade?
You've never seen one? I grew up using these.
Show me how it works.
Yusuf is the man teaching our old dog new tricks, perhaps providing Ezio with more excitement than he originally expected. Not only does Ezio make quick use of the hook blade, but because of Constantinople's location in terms of the trade routes in other continents, he also learns from the Brotherhood of Bombs. Not only to kill, but to distract and entice. Ezio seems glad to be around this new Brotherhood after having been away from his own for so long. He quickly becomes an important weapon in the Ottoman Brotherhood, as he begins helping his brothers in arms take back Constantinople once more. Working with Yusuf seems to breathe more life into the old man. He builds his assassin recruits into captains of the Brotherhood. He learns from the city perhaps more than he ever could in Italy. After his efforts to restore some sense of peace and order, he turns his attention and resources to finding the old trading post of Niccolo Polo, as it can help him find the Masyaf keys.
Polo. Marco's father?
I found this on a Templar in Masyaf. It mentions the 5 keys to Altair's library. Niccolo brought them here and hid them.
Ah, and the Templars know this, so it's a race against time.
They found one already, beneath Topkapi. I want to recover it and find the other 4.
So, where will you begin?
The old Polo trading post, I think. They ran a business in this area, no?
I believe so. Speak with a man named Piri Reis in the bazaar. He can point you in the right direction.
He listens to Yusuf, trusting him and heading to Piri.
Yes. Did Yusuf Tazim send you? That sounds like one of his exaggerations.
See, he said you could show me the location of Niccolo Polo's former trading post.
Ah, you must be that Floranzola he's been yammering on about. Lothario?
Ezio.
I don't hear the difference. Yes, the old polo shop. It's just west of Hagia Sophia. Here.
He leaves Petey and heads to the post to learn it is now a bookshop.
Buongiorno, merhaba, please come in.
He recognizes the woman from the boat he was on when entering the city.
We were on the same ship. I am Ezio Auditore.
Sofia Sartor. Have we met?
We have now. May I have a look around?
Prego. Most of my best tomes are in the back.
And while this woman may hail from Italy, she grew up in Constantinople, and as for her love of knowledge grew, she now sources and prints rare books in her shop. She allows Ezio to peruse the shop and he finds a hidden door.
But I always knew. Have you found anything interesting? Mio Dio! Who put that there? Incredibile. Where does it lead?
Why don't we find out?
Who are you, Messere?
Only the most interesting man in your life.
Ah, che presuntuoso.
A presto, Sofia. I will return in a moment.
It's an underground system that, while lost to time, had been found once more by the Templars. They are blindly searching while Ezio has the upper hand because of his gift from the ones who came before. Ezio works through the Templars and finds the chambers holding the first key and a map that offers a clue to the location of the rest.
What did you find?
Something that may interest you.
Mio Dio, che meraviglia! And here is my shop.
Look at the margins.
Strange symbols, and these are titles of books. Rare books. A few of these have not been seen for more than a millennium.
Niccolo Polo hid these books around the city. This map should tell us where.
You're beginning to interest me. Vaguely.
Ezio hadn't been much of an open book, but he felt drawn to Sofia and opened up to her, knowing she would appreciate it enough to decipher its meaning. While Sofia deciphers the location of the books, Ezio leaves to the Assassin HQ to learn the meaning of the key and the information it holds. The key holds a memory of Altair over 300 years ago when he was just 24. This is all new to Desmond as he entered Altair's life after this point in Assassin's Creed 1. Masyaf is being invaded by Crusaders and Altair sees a Templar has taken his mentor Al-Mualim and other members of the Brotherhood prison. His friend Abbas sees no hope in trying to save their mentor, but Altair disagrees. Altair saves his mentor and fellow assassins.
You offered him a chance to salvage his dignity. Why?
No man should pass from this world without knowing some kindness.
But he shunned your graces.
As was his right.
Altair, I have watched you grow from a boy to a man in so short a time. It fills me with as much sadness as pride. You fit your father's shoes as if they had been tailored to your feet.
And the memory ends.
They contain recorded memories, these keys. These ancient seals. But what is Altair trying to tell us, I wonder?
As Ezio experiences the memory, Desmond does as well, slowly synchronizing his ancestors' memories, working towards the sync nexus. While Sofia continues her work, Ezio needs to work on getting the already recovered key from the Templars. It was found underneath Topkapi Palace, and Ezio understands he needs to make a friend in a high place. Yusuf tells him of a plot that the Templars have to attack the young Prince Suleiman, son of Selim.
We learn that the Byzantines are planning to infiltrate Topkapi Palace now that Prince Suleiman has returned from his Hajj. If they do strike, it will be tonight at a cultural exposition the prince has organized.
So what is our plan?
Gardeshim, this is not your fight. No need to snare yourself in the Ottoman affairs.
The Byzantines found a key beneath Topkapi Palace, and I would like to know how.
Ezio, we want to protect our Shehzade, not interrogate him.
Trust me, Yusuf. Just tell me where to go.
Ezio looks to disguise himself as an entertainer and decides he can use the clothes of Italian minstrels. Entering the palace and seeing the young prince, Ezio realizes the student he met on the boat he took here is the same man that stands before him.
And governor of Kefe. And he's only 17.
We met on the ship. He told me he was a student. And who is that?
His uncle, Shehzade Ahmed, the Sultan's favored son. He is grooming himself for the Sultanate as we speak.
Despite his father and uncle's conflict with one another, Suleiman is fond of his uncle. He provides counsel to his uncle and trusts his word, believing him to be a man of honor. Ezio is here to defend Suleiman, and he does so with success.
It is a relief to see you again, mio bel menestrello.
These soldiers, Janissaries, are the elites of the elites, as their only goal is to protect the royalty of Constantinople. Suleiman asks Ezio to sit in on a meeting between the leader of the Janissaries, Tariq Barleti, himself, and his uncle Prince Ahmed. They wish to know how these conspirators got so close to Suleiman.
Heed my nephew, Tariq. Your incompetence borders on treason. And to think that today, your Janissaries were outshone by an Italian lute player. Preposterous.
Ahmed seeks Tariq's idea of what he's like as a leader and whether or not this attack was meant to make him look weak. Ahmed learns that the Janissaries do not want him as leader.
Quite a family,
Your uncle lacks sway over the men he will soon command.
Tariq is a hard man. Proud and capable, but ambitious. And he admires my father greatly.
But he failed to secure this palace against the Byzantine invasion. That alone is worth our attention.
Precisely.
Where should we begin?
For now, keep an eye on Tariq and his Janissaries. They spend much of their free time in and around the bazaar.
Ezio finds Tariq and tells him to a rendezvous. He is meeting Manuel Paleologos. Manuel is one of the last of the Byzantine lineage that were run out of Constantinople by the Ottomans. He survived by surrendering and sold his right to the throne in exchange for security and money. But why is he trading with the leader of the Janissaries? What cargo exactly are they trading to begin with?
Are your men prepared to travel?
Not a problem.
Polikara, I will have a map drawn up for you within the week.
Ezio wishes to see what this cargo is, so he and the assassins stir up the discontent of the locals to cause a riot and gain access to the armory. Ezio is now able to infiltrate the warehouse.
20 years in this city living like a cipher. Finally, everything is falling into place.
When the Paleologos line is restored, Manuel, do not forget who helped you bring it back.
Of course not, my friend. I would not dream of betraying a man of your influence. But you must be patient. Nova Roma wasn't built in a day. I'm satisfied. Take me to my ship. If a single one is damaged, the money stays with me.
Merda.
It seems this may be the new Grand Master of the Templars, as the cargo are rifles, meant to be used to take back Constantinople from the Ottoman army. With Prince Suleiman's consent, Ezio infiltrates the barracks of the Janissaries, finds Tariq, and learns of where the rifles are headed to.
What proof do you have of this?
See, here. This will lead you to the Byzantines in Cappadocia. Destroy them if you can.
You have done well, Tariq. Forgive me.
Ezio, convinced Tariq is a Templar and with the permission of Suleiman, kills Tariq. An innocent man has been killed, and so Ezio leaves with the location of the army and the fact that Tariq had spies in the city of Cappadocia. He must head there. His duty is to stop any rise of the Templars, but it may also provide a clue as to the location of the next key, which is held by the Templars.
Tariq was no traitor, Suleiman. He too was tracking the Byzantines.
What? So did you...
I am sorry.
God forgive me. You should not have been so quick to judge.
He was loyal to your grandfather to the end. And through his efforts, we have the means to save your city.
Tariq, you should not have been so secretive. What a terrible way to do a good thing.
The weapons were taken to Cappadocia. Can you get me there?
He leaves to tend to another friend, as Sophia had discerned more of the map telling him the location of Niccolo Polo's books and within them, the location of other hidden tombs. Exploring these tombs were just as challenging as the last but proved to be worthwhile. as Ezio had found 3 more Masyaf keys. Despite having completed his goal, Ezio is saddened by the fact that he's now done. He's enjoyed his time with Sofia, spending many hours deciphering the map, discussing literature, Italy, history, and just general common interest between them. Ezio over the years had become more reserved in terms of romance, partly from his age, perhaps from his commitment to the cause of the Brotherhood, but mostly because of the pain of the loss he's had to endure for most of his life. He could not protect his first love Christina from the dangers of the Templars, and he could not remain with Caterina as she understood his commitment to the cause. Anyone near him would be put in immediate danger, and despite this, Ezio clearly cared deeply for Sofia, and that feeling was mutual. Before leaving, Ezio has another memory from the keys of Altair. After disarming Al-Mualim of the apple, there was much confusion as the people of Masyaf were woken from their spell as the apple no longer held them in a trance. Altair knew what he had to do.
Altair! No!
I must know that he cannot return.
But this is not our way. To burn a man's body is forbidden. Defiler!
Hear me out. This body could be another one of Al-Mualim's phantoms. I must be certain.
Lies! All your life, you have made a mockery of our creed. You bend the rules to suit your whims, while belittling and humiliating those around you.
In the scuffle, Abbas takes the apple, wishing to wield it himself.
What did I tell you, Altair?
Abbas! Stop!
What did you think would happen when you murdered our beloved mentor?
Abbas is not a man whose greed can only be satiated by power. His anger and need for the apple comes from a place of pain and hate over his father's death, as he blamed Altair. His father Ahmed died when he was a child. He committed suicide in shame of his portrayal of Altair's father in front of Altair himself. Altair meant to keep it a secret, but told Abbas. Having been fed another story by Al-Mualim, Abbas did not want to believe Altair, and their friendship was permanently fractured. Abbas felt the apple's power as it proved to be too much. He could not wield it, but Altair could.
What was that? Are they dead? Forgive me. I did not know.
Have you anything to teach us? Or will you lead us all to ruin?
Altair forgave Abbas and took charge of the assassins. They would fight with a new purpose, seeking liberation in their area as beyond, as well as learn from the apple and apply its teachings to their own lives whenever possible. Altair would go on to marry Maria, a woman he once saved, and had children with her, Darim and Sef. With the Mongolian army approaching, Altair chose to leave the area with his wife and older son Darim and fight in the war. In their absence, Abbas betrayed Altair as he took control of the assassins and killed their second son, Sef. Altair and Maria returned in 1228 to Masyaf, prepared to confront Abbas for his crimes against them.
Abbas must answer for this.
Answer to whom? The assassins obey only his command now.
Resist your desire for revenge, Altair. Speak truth, and they will see their error.
He executed our youngest son, Maria. He deserves to die.
Perhaps. But if you cannot win back the Order by honorable means, its foundation will crumble.
Altair and Maria have every right to strike Abbas down for what he did to them, but the strength of the Order and what the Order stands for is beyond their pain, and Maria means to remind Altair of this. They arrive in the courtyard of Masyaf Castle.
We seek the truth about our son's death. Why was Sef killed?
Is it the truth you want? Or an excuse for revenge?
If the truth gives us an excuse, we will act on it.
Before I executed your son, I told him you ordered it yourself.
And sometimes, one's pain is justified enough to take precedent over the cause.
Altair! Altair! No! Strength, Altair.
But this anger, no matter how justified, no matter how rightfully directed, no matter how painfully expressed, cost him the love of his life. Altair has no choice but to flee from the assassins with his only son Darim. For 20 years, Altair would mourn and keep his distance from the Brotherhood. He looks to the apple to learn, understand, and create its technology. During these decades gone by, the Brotherhood is declining more and more, and at the age of 81, Altair returns to Masyaf to take back the Brotherhood.
Diabas, do not mock him. He has lived as an orphan for most of his life, shaped by his family's legacy. He is desperate for power, because he is powerless.
He is our mentor, and unlike Al-Mualim or Altair, he never betrayed us.
Nonsense. Altair was no traitor. He was driven out, unjustly.
Altair knows he has allies and trusts his brothers in arms to understand what has happened. Abbas is simply going to have to reap what he has sown. As he approaches the castle, some assassins step aside from Altair's path, some attack and are disarmed, but mostly they rally on the side of Altair.
Kill him now! What are you waiting for? You fools! He has bewitched you!
That is true, Abbas. I learned many things from the apple, of life and death, of the past and the future. Let me show you.
With Altair at the helm once more, he now turns his attention to Masyaf and the Order, restoring it to the glory days it once knew and using the past 20 years of studying to improve it.
An old man, and still he fought to hold our brotherhood together. I would have called him stubborn in my youth, but now I can only admire his courage. The assassins were his life, from beginning to end. He had no other.
Ezio is now in Cappadocia, a city that is literally carved into the side of an actual mountain with a community controlled entirely by the Byzantines. Ezio is here to learn more about the extent of this apparent Templar army and their plans for Constantinople. He seeks out Tadic spies and finds they have been compromised, tortured, and killed by Manuel's masked right hand, Shakulu. Ezio realizes he must dispatch of the army, so he rids them entirely of their arsenal. By doing this, he draws out the man himself, Manuel Paleologos.
You take advantage of a poor and displaced people, using us to further your own vain quest. But we fight for dignity, assassin. We fight to restore peace to this troubled land.
Templars are always quick to talk of peace, but very slow to concede power.
Because power begets peace, Flaka.
Enough prattling. I am here for the Masyaf key.
Then take it. Take it. Seek your fortune. See if you get within 100 leagues of that library before one of us finishes you off.
Ezio finally obtains the last key, granting him access to Altair's Library of Wisdom, and another Grand Master is laid to rest. However, Manuel is just a fall guy. Ezio would soon learn who the real leader of the Templars are.
Put him in charge of our Masyaf expedition. He was an arrogant man, impossible to keep in line.
You disappoint me, Ahmed. Why the Templars?
Because I am tired of all of these pointless blood feuds that pit father against son, brother against brother.
Delusions. Altair's secrets are not for you.
I am not interested in arguing, Ezio. I am here for the Masyaf keys.
Keys? Are there more than this one?
So I have heard. Perhaps I should ask someone who knows better. Sofia Sarto. Is that her name?
She knows nothing. Leave her be.
We shall see.
I will kill you if you touch her.
I know you'll try.
Achmet flees and heads back for Constantinople to capture Sofia. Ezio too leaves in a hurry and in a state of impatience on his way, uses the time to view the memory of the final key. Altair now sees his 92nd year of age in the year 1257. The Mongols are advancing quickly in their conquest, and a new student of the creed, Niccolo Polo, is given a very important task: to guard his life's work and promote his wisdom and teachings around the world. And funny enough, the first place he would reach is Constantinople.
A last favor, Niccolo. Take these with you and guard them well. Hide them if you must.
Artifacts?
Of a kind. They are keys, each one imbued with a message.
A message
For whom?
I wish I knew.
Niccolo, perplexed, takes the keys and does as Altair asks. While Altair may not know, Ezio does. He finally arrives at the bookshop, hoping Sofia is safe. Before having left for Cappadocia, Ezio sought out Yusuf's aid, asking him to watch over Sofia. Upon entering the bookshop, Sofia is not there, but the body of his brother in arms, Yusuf, is.
You have earned your rest, brother. Requiescat in pace.
Brothers, sisters, the whole city rises against us, while Yusuf's murderer waits and watches from the arsenal, laughing. Fight with me, and show him what it means to cross the assassins.
Ezio and his assassins storm the arsenal once more, and upon finding Ahmed, wishes to murder him for taking the life of his brother. However, he can't. He has Sofia. Ezio must learn where she is before he brings a permanent end to the Templar Grand Master.
Now, the keys.
First, the girl.
She's all yours.
Sofia!
Tell your men to back off.
Having no choice, Ezio surrenders the key, climbs the tower like never before, but it's all a trick. Sofia hangs on a tree across the city in a courtyard, and with no other options, Ezio parachutes to Sofia, quickly stopping her from hanging. Video of Ezio saying, Sofia.
Are you hurt?
Not hurt, but very confused.
I did not mean to drag you into this. I'm sorry.
You're not responsible for the actions of other men.
All this will be over soon, but I need to recover what they have taken.
I do not understand what is happening. Ezio, who are these men?
Run!
With Ahmed fleeing the city, Ezio and Sofia chase after him in the keys.
Ah! Go, Ezio, I'm fine!
Now having the keys, Ezio sees Ahmed's brother and Suleiman's father, Salim, approaching.
Soldiers! Selim is not your master! You serve the Sultan! You carry out his command alone! Where is he? Where is the Sultan?
He stands before you, brother. Father made his choice.
Selim! Stop! Please! Ah!
So, you are the assassin. Ezio Auditore. I am Selim, Suleiman's father. He speaks quite highly of you.
He is a remarkable boy with a magnificent mind.
Were it not for his endorsement, I would have you killed where you stand. Leave this place. Do not return.
Desmond's time in this void in the Animus is coming to an end. He is almost done synchronizing with his ancestors, but he has one final chance to reach the Sync Nexus as the test program is collapsing in on itself. With this, Subject 16's remnants will soon be gone too. 16's story is that of a sad one. Clay was not born into the Creed, but recruited by Desmond's father, William. He was given the task of infiltrating Abstergo and gathering intel in order to prove himself. However, he knew too much and succumbed to the bleeding effect, so much so he once entered the Animus and never left. He downloaded his consciousness permanently in the Animus and took his own life. And with this, he discovered the truth about Lucy.
This is where your background comes into play. If our experiments with Desmond and the Animus aren't going well, you will remove him from Abstergo. Take him somewhere he will feel comfortable, divulging his secrets. Your assassins should do the trick.
This is why the apple forced Desmond to kill her. But was she killed because she still had an allegiance to the Templars, or because she had previously had one? Could her time spent with Desmond, Rebecca, and Sean have truly changed her? These are questions that unfortunately will never be answered. As Clay gave himself to the Animus, his final task given by Juno was to ensure the safety of Desmond Miles. While the test program collapsed, he did just that. On the edge of achieving his sync nexus, Desmond enters the Animus one last time. Ezio did not choose this life. Like Altair and Desmond, it was thrust upon him. Here he was, finally at the end of it all. His journey for true knowledge and wisdom, reasons why the world operates in the way that it does, and searching for what his role was in it, was finally reaching its finale. Ezio and Sophia would face the discovery of knowledge and truth together. Before they would, Ezio would answer a pertinent question.
You mentioned a creed before. What is it?
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
That is rather cynical.
It would be if it were doctrine, but it is merely an observation of the nature of reality. To say that nothing is true is to realize that the foundations of society are fragile, and that we must be the shepherds of our own civilization. To say that everything is permitted is to understand that we are the architects of our actions, and that we must live with their consequences, whether glorious or tragic.
And when answering this question, he takes time, reflecting on his life.
I do not remember making that decision. This life, it chose me. For 3 decades, I have served the memory of my father and my brothers, and fought for those who have suffered the pain of injustice. I do not regret those years, but it is time to live for myself, and let them go. Let go of all of this.
Using the 5 keys, Ezio reaches his destination. Altair's library, sealed shut for 300 years, is now open. Ezio looks around and there are no books, just the remnants of a legend. Ezio has one final memory, the day of Altair's decision to seal the library. Masyaf can no longer be home to the assassins, but this tomb, it will become Altair's final resting place. And in it, he will guard the apple for a time he will never know, for a person he will never meet, for a purpose he may never understand. He sits, finally, at peace.
I have seen enough for one life.
Ezio had grown wise. He learned his purpose with Minerva not to understand. Ezio feels in his heart that this is meant to be his final revelation as an assassin. And coming to this realization, the apple activates.
A long time ago, and now it lingers in my mind like an image from an old dream. I do not know where you are, or by what means you can hear me, but I know you are listening. I have lived my life as best I could, not knowing its purpose, but drawn forward like a moth to a distant moon. And here at last, I discover a strange truth. That I am only a conduit for a message that eludes my understanding. Who are we, who have been so blessed to share our stories like this? To speak across centuries. Maybe you will answer all the questions I have asked. Maybe you will be the one to make all this suffering worth something in the end. Now, listen.
Desmond has finally achieved his sync nexus. Here, we meet Jupiter. Like Juno and Minerva, he is one who came before. He begins teaching Desmond of the work they did in the vault, which was the sum of their tests and trials of a solution to the world-ending problem they faced. Desmond watched the world before his end. He saw how it ended, how humanity was washed away, and how the ones who came before rebuilt the world with humanity. However, his focus was now. What was he meant to do?
Listen, you must go there, to the place where we labored and lost. Take my words, pass them from your head into your hands. That is how you will open the way.
The assassins were headed in the right direction, right towards the place on Jupiter's globe, as Ezio was beginning to wake up. Desmond knows what he has to do, but this is not the story of Desmond, as important as he may be. This is Ezio's journey, and his time with Desmond had come to an end. Ezio spent the remainder of his life in the countryside of Tuscany. He reflected on his life and lessons learned, his friends, his creed, and healing the pain he knew long ago. He took care of his family as he found love, true contentment. Finally, he had found his true peace. And may we all live as Ezio did, perhaps not having to endure his pain, but living fruitfully, doing what's right by others, and sometimes more importantly, what's right by ourselves. I've always been fascinated by the stories told in the old AC games, given how rich they were in history and lesson. Ezio's story will remain as the greatest, in my heart, trilogy in the history of gaming. Ubisoft created something truly special with this trilogy, and I hope that one day there's a return to form. For those who've stuck around, thank you. I look forward to being this in-depth in a future video, as this is what I intend to do next. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourself, take care of one another. Have a good one.